When I speak about trauma and trauma that individuals like me experience, that I present the racial discrimination, the issue of racial topics, because those conversations really aren't had when it comes to the conversation of trauma. And because it encapsulates a large amount of the trauma, because uh, it affects the previous, the baseline of an individual, how they grew up, how their mindsets are formed, and even their social and anchor groups to the middle while experiencing the trauma, why it would get them into that position in the first place, whether it be because of financial reasons, because they're trying to escape their identity crisis, whatever. Um, to the last, the recovery. Are they able to actually recover? Are they able to talk and connect with people in different realms, different spheres? Are they able to survive financial issues or crises? Is there someone that's able to take care of them? When it all comes down, racism and discrimination is often talked about as a last thing, as a last effect, when it really should be presented more in the first. That it hits every single racial group, ethnicity, background, but it's the least talked about because of white supremacy, because the white population doesn't want to talk about it. They don't want to express how they are injured or how it affects them, the white population, by racial discrimination. Because the conversation would be inherently positive. Because you could say, hey, here's the consequence of racial discrimination. Here, and like you assume instantly negative. Like, oh, okay, right off rip, negative. We're going to talk about something negative. But if I said, hey, you know what? I benefit off racial discrimination. And all those enslaved black people working those fields got money. I'm not a victim because I got the money. But that doesn't mean that you're not a victim. It means that you've gotten used to a lifestyle. You got used to the pleasures, and your stories will always surround that negative aspect to the point where you try not to speak about those things. You know inherently that they are negative. That's why you opt not to talk about it. And because of that, you try to forget it and don't include it within your own aspects of development and formation. So you truly start to believe you did this inherently because of your own strength and wisdom and intelligence, forgetting the backs of the people that really had put you into that position, what had gotten you into that position. You say, I worked as a farmer. My family worked generations as a farmer, and they, not my family did not own slaves. Yeah, but did it help boost the economy? Did it help stimulate growth? Could you get a loan from another wealthy backer who did own slaves or enslaved people? No, those things aren't really included because they're not really talked about, because they're not really popular to talk about, because they're not the most upfront and apparent. And that's initially the issue. Why I think that racism always has to be brought up first, because it's expected, it's acknowledged in a sense that it has a part to play, but people put it on the lower end where everyone gets tired when the conversation of racism gets brought up. They're already fatigued. Their brain is already, just exhausted. That's why when you have conversations about racism, you should bring them first. If you think about it, like school, you the periods that you probably do the best is either second or third. If you have 6 periods altogether, Because the first one, you're still a little dazed, tired, warming up your brain. Second one, okay, you can kind of pay attention. Third, yeah. Fourth, getting fatigued. Fifth, you basically done. Six, you're not retaining anything. So I forgot how many periods depending on the school or the institution, but let's just say for the sake of this, just six, not counting gym and lunch. But throughout your day, you're not really wanting to have those conversations with the last two periods. Those are just things that you just do and you're just trying to get through. That's where racism really lies. And in conversations of PTSD and trauma, I'm always trying to get the conversation of my trauma, what happened to me, but I don't get to talk about the silent points, the space in between words, the things that didn't happen to me, the things that I didn't get. And you say, "Oh, it's something didn't happen to you. Why is that bad?" I didn't get love. I didn't get acknowledged. I didn't get those scholarships. I didn't get those positions. I didn't get newscasters. I didn't get these things. And you could say, "Oh, you can list on all the things that you didn't get, but what did you get?" And with a conversation around trauma and PTSD and all of that, I one of the worst things that I've experienced is how people have dictated to me how am I supposed to get through this without just a blank check. I'm on a fixed income, a fixed budget. No one's telling me what time I really actually have. It's not even a fixed budget. It's saying, I'll say it. When I initially got hurt, I had a little bit of budget, a little bit of time, therapy, but I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I was so broken and so scared and angry and emotional and then empty that I functionally could not process what I needed to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't they're like, "Oh, here's the tools, here's the tools." I don't know if I can trust you. My trust was broken. And it was broken because a white man had shot me, a white man who said he was my friend. All of the white counterparts that were so-called friends started to I started to aware like their slights and their racism. I started to notice that some would avoid me, others would not reach out to me, and the years of abuse started to all fall upon me. So yeah, it wasn't like while you're dealing with all that, someone says, "Okay, here's therapy." How do I know I trust a therapist? How do I know what to trust? Who to trust? And they're like, "Well, this is the only time you have allotted." See, it's like when I said I wanted to leave, I did not have a choice in leaving the military. Now, for better or for worse, because I say like it's, you know, I can only decide as I stand now. But I knew I didn't have a choice. I didn't even feel like I had choices or decisions in my own career. I was either given way too many choices or not enough. And I couldn't even pick which ones that I felt like I was capable of standing and appreciating. I wasn't surrounded by people that I felt confident, the people that would reassure me. There was not a conversation that really, in the time that I needed, express step by step what would happen, what would actually happen to me, what are outcomes that are looking forward towards me. It was about efficiency, the battle, the war. It was always about someone else's readiness, someone else's career. My life was done. And it just goes into a long line of well, that's the military, kid. That's what you signed up for. But I realized I didn't sign up for that. Like, I didn't sign up to get blown up or to get shot or to be killed. I signed up to get college. I signed up to do a job reasonable work and expectations and then go home, or go to a place with stable income that would acknowledge my humanity. This lie that I came there and that's my fault for not understanding the complexities and these things that clearly I wouldn't know, because they don't actually show the videos of military life. They don't show you what you're actually going to be doing. They show you very, very good propaganda where it's like, oh, this is some of the coolest things that the coolest guys do. And then they also show you some of the higher ranks, higher enlisted chiefs, officers, people that aren't even in your job, your field, your MOS, whatever you want to call it, doing things that you're not going to do, or just small moments that are literally just seconds in the grand scheme of the 4 to 5 years, 6 years that you'll be there. Like I'm talking about months and months and months. It's like if I told you, hey, we get to knock down all these dominoes, and you see $1 million dominoes stacked up, but they don't tell you that it's you stacking every single million of those dominoes. And it's like, it's cool to watch it. They got to videotape you doing that. But that might not even been something that they had initially greenlit. Like, they're opportunists. They're very business savvy. They'll see a member of the military doing that, notice that it's like, hey, this is boosting morale. Okay, we'll green light this. Once you're already halfway through with doing it. Once you said, I'm going to do it with or without you. So either you get on board or you move out of the way. The military might just say, you know what, seems like he's not going to stop. It's like, let's act like we started this. We're going to have a tradition. Traditions usually stem for, I'm not going to listen to the military. I don't care. I'm going to do this. This sounds fun, and you're not going to stop me. And there's enough of us that will refuse to stop working. And then big military will be like, fine, we'll let them have this one, but we'll regulate it. And it's like, fine. That's pretty much it. So when you have topics of racism, discrimination, or history and all of that while you're in the military, or even without it, even if you were to just be in the civilian sector, the conversations always stem from like the trauma that you have and trying to make and assert decisions while also reconciling with what just happened. And it causes an influx of emotions and burnout. You're supercharged. You become very efficient, but that efficiency comes at a cost. You have to pay that later. See, at first, it's your body is put with so much energy that feels like it's endless. Until one day that you gotta pay all that debt and you feel so tired and sluggish. Like, I'll say that I felt that I had spent a day 3 years. And then once I finally got out of trauma, I had to put in those 3 years just laying in bed. All those years of being able to walk or stand and do all this, all the healing, I got in what I had put in for that moment. I took that loan plus interest, a little bit longer, months, still a bit fried. And not only that, all the other debts piled up too. The things that I couldn't even pay attention or grow. Like when I tried to grow and involve myself in things that I liked, I was so drained. I was so tired. It became pointless. It became frustrating. Even telling yourself positive things. What I realized, especially with PTSD, in the realm of racism, I didn't have any friends or family. I didn't have generational wealth. I didn't have my grandfather. I didn't have my grandmother. And most people that I would have in my family that I could have a conversation with didn't go through the same realms of trauma, don't have the same heightened sense of access with information. They don't know how to utilize the tools. Things have only kind of started to, become balanced in a social economic system. But still, because I'm lacking the generational anchors, the ties, the resources, relationships, and ability to look at predecessors. I don't have those, so I had to look at other people's predecessors, white predecessors, other talents, other beams of success. And when I decided I didn't really want that, or I got tired of those aspects, no longer am I in the same delusion. Well, there's no one to tell me how to go forward, what to do. People who would have genetic like mind personalities that would also have been in those fields, and they, help you by, you could say nepotism, but really just giving you knowledge or information on how to start whatever trade or new deal or job or position or career, any advice, any resources. Every man matters because, say your core family is a bit like mine, where it's just five. If you were to add uncles and cousins and aunts by in-laws, or that could be 100 connections to relationships. But for me, I would say with my core family, I got about maybe 25 people that I feel that I know that I could possibly ask for something. But even of that group, less that would actually have something to give, anything to spare. Everyone's focused on their core family. And there's always those people that say, well, I'm poor, I was born this, and I didn't have this, and that's, like, I say that's bad, but there's functionally things that what was that type of person? Do you have any stories? Do you have any recognition of what that person was without a case of mental illness? Starting all the way from child slavery, it's like I just got from the most traumatic thing. My kids are still being stolen. My life is always under duress and threat. Drugs fuel my life. The problem isn't that I necessarily don't have access to information of my ancestors. I have so much information and access to my ancestors, and they're all the same story. That there's no difference. That you kind of go, this is the same story over and over and over again. And it's not helpful. If there was a different way that the trauma was arising, if there was a different way that someone could express those things, well then I might be able to piece together or figure out my own creativity based on theirs. I might be able to do something that changes the way one thinks. But I'm not. I'm not able to, just because it's the same story. And then I hear the same story, like, oh, I don't have, and I'm like, so when I start listening to what I don't have, you won't sit there and actually listen all day to what I don't have. They pick people that can't list all the things that they don't have just because they don't have the cognitive function to understand that they don't have these things that they should have. These things are theirs, they're entitled to, but because they've taken it away and then given them maybe a corner of it back and presented it as being generous, when really it's to use them as a malicious means. That's why I don't personally care about other Black people's traumas or stories, especially when it relates to those in any white position. I don't need another white person to co-sign what I say, because I've come to a conclusion when I was young that if if you can get a black person to say, "Hey, I'm not racist," then I can get a white person to say, "Yes, this is." And the only reason that it's vastly different is because we know. You will discredit this white person and say, "Dude, that's one of the losers. That's one of the lamest people. Like, no one cares about him. I'm elite." And they'll say, "This is one of your best black people. He's an athlete. He's elite." And they say, "You got two losers." It's only the proximity of that whiteness, and then with the whiteness, the wealth, the structure. I thought that many black people get tricked in thinking that they need to get a elite white person to someone that looks of that aesthetic to counteract that. But ever still, it's someone dragging you down to their level and beating you with experience. They'll say that white person would be a double agent, or that white person would get exposed for their bad behavior. Because the truth is that white person is no different from the white person that you have. So the evil white person and the good white person is no different. That everyone has skeletons in their closet, but like, we don't actually see what the evil white person and the good white person. We don't acknowledge their actions as bad or good until it's in relation to us. So there's no universal, there's no standard. That's why I wouldn't get a white person to co-sign me, because what I said was solid enough to be on its own basis and form. That often you can note that white individuals will get a person of color that they deem as one of the greats, or that other black people would love and appreciate, but they would get people that that aren't really respected. Like, they believe that celebrities are respected, but to be honest with you, they're mocked and jeered, like, and they always really have. That those that try to portray themselves, at least for me, that those that try to portray themselves as a politician, as well as a musician, as well as an athlete, well, I look at them as burnouts, as someone that's inevitably going to fall, and that fall off will be so great and grand, because, like, why would you go that high that quick? It's like pressing an elevator and shooting up at 20 miles per hour to get to the first floor. The reasons why elevators go at the speed that they do is not simply because they do not want to get to the position as quickly as they can, but they realize that risk of getting there that fast would make discomfort, would make pain, and the risk of death and destruction to property that much higher. I look at those that have all these achievements under their belt. I don't see them as overachievers. I see them as kind of plain and surface level, like a military member that puts all these ribbons and all of these medals on their chest, but they don't actually, like, the qualifications is just being there, being in proximity, being there in enough time, washing dishes well enough, being liked well enough. I left the military with, I think, 2 ribbons, and I didn't even get the marksman or any of the shooting. I don't think, like, I'm not going to be renowned for my military career, but if I become something prominent in the philosophy field, or even as a writer or something like that, someone's going to mention my time in the military, and that would be greater acknowledgement than any man with 50 medals or more on their chest. You would say, oh, well, 50 medals, that would make him a general, or an officer or whatever, but how many do we actually remember? Like, how many in normal day do we sit there and in reference? Even in modern day, which tactics would beat out General Patton and all of these tacticians, we still don't remember them or recall them, which I think that they also want. They acknowledge that they don't really want to be remembered, but it shows that military acknowledgement, the awards are simply for yourself and your close cohorts, less than a universal standing. But getting back to what I was saying, I've understood that I do not look or view celebrity as qualifications. That I see all of these things and I go that you're not amazing for having all of these accomplishments. You're simply just meeting the bare minimum requirements to say that you hit this level, to get a arbitrary rank, to not even be good, to be demoted up, to literally just have a empty career, a career that hits names and titles, but you do not realize that you yourself make those titles and ranks coveted. See, I don't look at NBA superstars as an ideal dream. Like I don't imagine, like if I were to imagine being an NBA player, I would not imagine just being the bare minimum requirements. Not looking at the I might even look at the lowest, the base entry, because like that seems like it's closer to where I'm at, so it seems more feasible. So I think about them, or I think about the highest paid, like LeBron James or Steph Curry. Like I imagine my life as them, but I never really think about the middle. I never really think about the anyone in that center balance that actually provides that weight, because it's not saying that their life isn't desirable, but it doesn't hold the focus. It doesn't really shine out the career. Now, I'm not saying that I would replace myself. I wouldn't take any of those positions if I wanted to be a basketball player, but it's recognizing that. And also, I would add that it is because of the small amount of numbers that you can actually kind of pay attention more to the roster, that you can actually remember names. When you look at it, it's about